All right, who's been spiking Trump's Diet Coke now? We're going to buy Gaza? We're going to take over Gaza? What has the man been smoking? So welcome back to the channel, and Trump doesn't smoke. So welcome back to the channel, Culture Confederacy. Here it's Wednesday night. Happy Wednesday, everybody. Yo, Culture Confederates. So Trump shocked the world yesterday, this presser with Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, by saying that the United States is going to take over rebuilding Gaza. Didn't we learn our mistake from Iraq? Now, I got nothing against Trump. Those of you who follow the channel, you know I'm independent. By the way, if you're new to the channel, no fancy graphics, epic soundtracks, pretty boy camera angles. It's just you, me, my smartphone, the news of the day, and this mission, this crusade to preserve great art, music, history, and culture. So we talk about, as I said, history, culture, preserving great art, music, all that fun stuff. Not taking down statues or things you disagree with. So you might get a tinge of politics, current events. That's what we do on the channel, and we do it bare bones. As I said before, if you're looking for bells and whistles, you got to go somewhere else, baby. Go somewhere else. And speaking of bells and whistles, do you think we're really going to turn Gaza into the Riviera of the Middle East? I don't think so. So what I want to do in this video, there's a really good article. This is from the Arab Center in Washington, D.C. It's a really good article. I'll share next share with you here. And I'm going to go through the comments that were posted today on Ben Shapiro's Daily Wire episode, or his podcast today. There was a lot of mixed reactions to this. And I've got nothing against Ben Shapiro. I didn't see a whole lot of comments about it on Megyn Kelly's show. By the way, congratulations, Megyn Kelly. 1,000th episode. I was looking at my videos earlier. I'm thinking, oh my God, I've only got like 411 videos posted. And it's just because I'm limited on time on what I can post. So give me some ideas in the comment section below. What do you want me to talk about here on the channel? So at any rate, so needless to say, a lot of people weren't happy, and especially on X too, they weren't happy about Trump making this proposal that we're going to take over Gaza, which I think is a stupid idea. Here's what you do. What you do is you tell the people in Gaza, you're going to fend for yourselves. We'll send you the hammers and the nails and the wood, whatever building materials you need, but with an ultimatum. You don't fight your neighbors. You don't attack Israelis or Egyptians. And if you people can't get along, then guess what? The United States isn't doing business with you. That's the stance that the United States should take. Because it's actually the stance, believe it or not, of the Monroe Doctrine. So what is the Monroe Doctrine? Well, back in 1823, a little history lesson here. 1823, President James Monroe issued this policy. And in it he stated that North and South America were no longer open to colonization, declaring that the United States would not allow European countries to interfere with independent governments in the Americas. Well, we're doing the reverse. We're getting ourselves involved in these countries overseas. Now, granted, this isn't the 18th century, so it's not the 1700s or 1800s. I understand that. The technology has changed. The world's changed. We had 2 world wars. We had Korea, the Vietnam War. But still, if we're supposed to be if the United States is supposed to be this shining example of independence, you can do it yourself, pull yourself up by your bootstraps type of society, then we need to lead by example and not be dependent on every damn country that's out there in the world. We can trade at an arm's length. There's nothing wrong with that. I don't have anything against that. But we should not be rebuilding somebody else's backyard. It's not a responsibility, and it's not in the Constitution for us to do it. It's not a requirement in the Constitution. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say the United States is required to build somebody else's backyard or another nation. Nowhere. So we're doing the reverse of what James Madison said in the Monroe Doctrine here. So moving right along, let's get to this article once again over at the Arab Center in D.C. Scroll up here. Now, this came out last year, 2023, because, or pardon me, 2 years ago now, because 2023 marked 20 years since the invasion of Iraq, or the Iraqi War. This article by Yara M. Azi, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, last name A-S-I. Shock and awe, life in Iraq 20 years after the U.S.-led invasion. So I'm just going to read you an excerpt of this, then we'll get into the comments, which are really fun. So it says here, the invasion of Iraq is widely recognized as a costly and destructive, humiliating, and ultimately fruitless enterprise. What's going on with Iraq today? I mean, you don't hear anything in the news about Iraq anymore, do you? So she says, the invasion of Iraq is widely recognized as a costly, destructive, humiliating, and ultimately fruitless enterprise. In 2002, after months of hawkish speeches by politicians and pundits based largely on misinformation and bluster, a full 73% of Americans supported military action in Iraq. By 2019, 62% of American adults, including a majority of Iraq War veterans, felt that it had not been worth fighting after all. Indeed, the effects of the war on the West's role in the world, on perceptions of the trustworthiness of U.S. intelligence and on American veterans have been widely discussed. In terms of the American presence in Iraq, which I think this was a mistake personally for us to go into Iraq, we should have just leveled the place and be done with it. And told them, you're on your own, learn to get along, and we're not doing business with you. That should have been our policy 20 years ago. Should have been our policy 20 years ago. Sorry, the tongue's sticking to me. But in terms of the American presence in Iraq, and at the peak of the war, circa 2007, about 170,000 U.S. service members were stationed throughout the country. Today, the number is closer to 2,500, part of a purported show of support for the region and the continuance of America's regional aims, like countering Iranian influence. What is too often missed, however, is the toll the war took on Iraq and its people. So she gets into the state of Iraq today. Well, back in 2023. Much of the support in the West for invading Iraq and disposing and ultimately executing Saddam Hussein came from the supposed goal, so tongue sticking today. The supposed goal of then President Bush, to put it, freeing the Iraqi people, or how he put it, freeing the Iraqi people from a violent and authoritarian, trying to read this on the fly here, authoritarian regime. There we go, got it right. The former president even argued that the future of peace and the hopes of the Iraqi people now depend on our fighting forces in the Middle East. Telling the entire campaign was named Operation, or tellingly, see, I told you I can't read tonight, can't talk tonight. You like it when I make mistakes, don't you? So moving right along, 20 years later, he was telling us during this campaign, Operation Iraqi Freedom, that we had all these dreams for peace and hope in the Middle East. But 20 years later, the Iraq War is nearly synonymous with American folly and hubris, resulting in the devastation of hundreds of thousands of lives. An estimated 200,000 Iraqis were killed in direct violence, and tens or hundreds of thousands more killed through indirect violence, such as lack of access to health care, food, sanitation, water. The instability precipitated by the invasion of the country led to even more human rights abuses, many perpetuated by the so-called Islamic State, IS, between 2014 and 2017. So this is a really good article. I encourage you to go read it. Again, this is over at the Arab Center in D.C., talking about the Iraq invasion 20 years later, what we've gotten from it. And it seems like every time we go into the Middle East, every time we get involved over there, we get burned. Why is that? It's because we don't know how to handle foreign policy. Now, Trump is saying that we're not really going to be invested. Like, we might have people over there helping to rebuild things, but most of the weight of this is going to be on neighboring countries, like possibly Iran or Jordan, Lebanon, wherever the countries are over there. These are going to be the countries, Saudi Arabia, And Saudi Arabia came out and said, we don't want any part of this. No, we're not going to take these Palestinian refugees. So my solution here, as I said before, is to tell the people in Gaza, fend for yourselves. We'll send you the hammers, we'll send you the nails, we'll send you the wood to rebuild, the concrete, whatever you need, the supplies, but you're going to rebuild it yourself. So you're going to go back to Gaza, and you're going to rebuild Gaza. And you're going to learn to live in peace and harmony with your neighbors, and if you can't do that, then guess what? We're not doing business with you, and neither should these countries that surround you do business with you. Get along or else. A little tough love goes a long way, baby. A little tough love goes a long way. So getting to these comments here, let's go to, we'll start with the comments over at Ben Shapiro's show, The Daily Wire today. Now, they were talking about AOC because AOC was making these snide remarks about Elon Musk. So someone wrote back saying that he's not intelligent or whatever, he supports Trump or he's in Trump's back pocket. Someone let AOC know my coffee is getting low. Oh, that's cold. Someone else writes, President Trump is going to change the United States forever. He may end up one of the legends of history. If he fails here, he'd definitely be a legend of history. I mean, I'm hoping he does well. I really hope that Trump does well in office. I mean, at least he's a lot better than Biden. At least we know where Trump is. Sorry, but I thought we learned our lesson when it comes to nation building. What a joke. The United States should not be in the business of nation building. We should be focused on the homeland. That should be our number one concern. What's happening in our own backyard. That's how we become stronger. It's big talk, the art of the deal, get rid of Hamas and clear out Gaza. I'm hoping this idea will work because I don't know if Gaza wants peace. Someone writes, I've been dying to hear Ben's take on this, laugh out loud. Someone else writes, why is the USA paying for this? Nation building doesn't have the best track record. Exactly. So a lot of comments in here about nation building. We should be getting involved here. So let's go over to X. See what they said here on X. So someone writes, so Trump supporters explain to me how the U.S. sending troops to take over and own Gaza at taxpayer expense is America first. Yeah, Trump, whatever happened to America first? I thought we were supposed to come first, not Gaza. Republicans want to abandon Democratic Ukraine, but are just fine with a U.S. occupation of Gaza? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. So they quote this is President Trump's tweet here. The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip and we will do a job with it too. President Donald J. Trump. And they've got a snapshot here of President Trump at this presser yesterday with Benjamin Netanyahu. Someone else says here on X, starting a war and losing it doesn't make you a victim. If the U.S. indeed takes over Gaza and all the Palestinians are resettled elsewhere, it is their own fault. Our president has an instinctive behavior as a commercial juggernaut. He takes Gaza without pain after seeing Free Palestine posters. Do not let the Jews deceive our president. That's harsh. The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip and we will do a job with it too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all the dangerous, unexploded... They're requoting or reposting what Trump said here. Dismantle all the dangerous, unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site. Level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, etc. Wait, what? And here is a Trump supporter who isn't too happy with this idea, this policy. We voted for you because you're going to put America first, not do Israel's job for them. Netanyahu is smiling like he owns you. Israel owns the United States. So those are the comments that are out there about this. Thought I'd share that with you. Talk about this, the Monroe Doctrine. But we shouldn't be over in the Middle East nation building. That isn't our responsibility. Trade at an arm's length and focus here on home. on the homeland. Or if you could focus more here at home, is what I would say. Focus here home. There you go. Maybe we'll just do a video of me doing all my gaffes here on the channel for the past 400 some odd episodes, whatever it is. So at any rate, if you enjoyed the video, you know what to do. You can follow me at Instagram, #JasonComposes, because I write music in my spare time. You can go to X, Culture Confederacy, at Culture Confed 1 on X. Now you can find me at Substack. Or you can go to Instagram, #JasonComposes, write music in my spare time, if I didn't already say that. So, a lot to throw into the video today. Again, thank you for being with me. I'll catch you next time, and you'll have a great Wednesday night. Take care.